I welcome you to Beyond Grief and Loss, another session. In this particular session, you will learn along with me how job loss work in the background, the consequences that lead to job loss, and how grief coaching can benefit. This is a term that most of us may have been through in our career. Not necessarily it covers a lot of people, but yet most of us may have heard this. And if you really pause here for a few seconds and remember, interestingly, you will find that this particular term, "you are fired," has actually never been used directly. I myself, being within HR even before I became a coach, there were times when, on account of companies' failed performances, we had to let go some good talent. But however, a company doesn't really always work in a very effective way, so the blame is then on the bench or those employees who may perhaps have a lot of potential that the company couldn't use. So then HR is asked and called to create such methods where we could seamlessly try and help people move out or move away. Then there are consequences, or I should say circumstances, where actually the employees have a performance issue. And then there are other complications wherein a lack of compliance by an employee or a lack of engagement, whatever you may call it, regardless of the situation, anytime people loses a job, this particular term is never used. So what I basically trying to bring your attention to is job loss is not as direct. Similarly, job loss grief is also not something you may think you are experiencing it just because you lost your job. It is as complex and as subtle as this statement, which has been applied several times but have been perhaps never used directly for any employee. In our session today, I would share with you a story of Daniel. From being a top leader to a recluse finding escape. Let's begin with the success part of Daniel's life. Daniel was a very bright student. After passing out his college and his graduation, he didn't really had any struggle to find a good placement, and basis on his very good academic record and his very good charismatic personality, he easily found placement in one of the top Fortune 500 firms. As a fresher, he learned very quickly on the job. And being a good learner with a good attitude, he was someone loved by all, very famous, very friendly, and one of an employee who you could consider an asset to any organization he would be part of. His entire personality, his way of working, made him the sought after team leader. So promotions were as easy the same way as his placement. But one fateful night, his entire career trajectory changed. He unfortunately met with an accident which saved his life but left his spine injured in a very wrong way. The injury after the accident was so severe that he was confined to a bed. Initially, Daniel was of the opinion that he would take rest, sought the best doctors in town, and will get back to work. But life had different plans for him. Not only was he was supposed to take a very long break from his employment, but at the same time, while he stayed confined to his bed, most of the work within a very short span of time was quickly shifted to his fellow colleagues and other team members, and he was soon forgotten. It's a very common scenario in our everyday corporate life. But this was not something Daniel was prepared for. He felt lonely, anxious, sad, and many other complex emotions because he actually never took time to really think through the various consequences that his thoughts and his plan, thinking that this is just one of the accident and he'll be fine, would bring in. But with time and with many other unfortunate things like lack of availability of specialized doctors who could treat him, or his own health added to the misery. Time went by and he stayed confined to bed. Eventually, he had to altogether quit his job. After a period of close to 2 years, when he felt a bit better and he also started to feel the pinch of financial constraints, he reached out to his firm once again based on his past performances, seeking a special arrangement so that he could get rehired. Since he was a good performer, he was hired, but in a different department, and there were other few arrangements made, given that he cannot visit the office every single day, confining him to working out of home for 3 days a week and few limited hours. In 1 year, Daniel felt there was a huge change in the overall corporate life. Change was coming really fast. He never anticipated that change would happen at such a fast pace. He tried and adjusted himself to the best of his capacity. But while working, he felt more and more lonelier. He found that most of his colleagues looked at him in a very sympathetic way, and nobody really gave him any assignments more to do with his potential than to do more with how much he could work with his limited time and availability. This deeply impacted him. It was his spine that was injured, not his mind. But people failed to realize this, let alone trust it. The constant sympathy, simple work, support made him more agitated, frustrated, and irritated with his current job. But despite that, all this was happening, Daniel continued on because he was in need of money, and he knew that he couldn't choose at this point in time. He continued working in those conditions for close to around 3 years. But by the end of the 3rd year, he realized he was more sick than he was when he joined the firm, because by the time he was rehired 3 years ago, he was just physically unfit and with some limitations. But in this past 3 years, his loneliness being among the people, lack of support, lack of empathy, and his own blind spots where he didn't understood where exactly he was right or wrong. Was he just seeking sympathy, or was he having some kind of thinking errors? Since he never invested in any of those, he was completely confused as to who and why and where what was wrong. This gave rise to many mental health issues, including performance issues which now began to show up. His firm was not just supportive but even kind enough to not really gare him on these. But time to time, in a subtle way, he was being told that his performance not was at par. Despite that, he was just supporting them and not was doing the original role. Daniel stayed stuck in this situation for a very long time. And then someone suggested from the talent development team to seek a coach. When he reached me, I think it was more than 5 years he's been through a lot. And meeting me, we had close to 3 to 4 discovery sessions. I realized how much Daniel could have had saved himself from the suffering that he was deeply into if he had not wasted his 3 years just trying to figure out everything by his own self. What if he had just took some courage to seek help, to understand that his life has changed, there has been a major setback, things won't be the same, and instead of assuming, sought help to really adjust to the new life and to the new mindset. And I say this, friends, because I find a lot of people who come to me for grief coaching, especially in the cases of job loss, it's not necessarily that it's only about somebody being fired or asked to leave on performance issues. These things are so subtle and complicated that there is a lot that's happening beneath our awareness, that's in our subconscious, and there's a lot that's happening in our life as well. What if we just pause, go ahead and seek help? We may not end up wasting the most precious thing in life that never comes back, which is time. We could make the most of the help of a coach and really gear up and bring ourselves to a position so that we effectively manage the setbacks and failures of life. So I just like to also make a request here to all those who are listening to this or watching this. Please get help. Not necessarily you hire me. Go get any coach that you think can help you or a therapist. But please do not think you can do it all by yourself. Yes, there are people who can, but the ratio of those who are very well disciplined, self-motivated and self-regulated is very less compared to those who really are in need of help. So friends, get coached. Here are my coordinates in case you ever feel the need to reach out, seek help, you can connect me. Thank you.